The blood pool stretched across the gravel shoulder like spilled paint. 3 a.m. A female officer lay crumpled against the guardrail, her shirt torn, her shoulder bleeding dark and steady. Her eyes opened. She tried to speak something. Marcus should have called 911 and driven away. But then he saw the badge number pinned crooked on her chest. 2847. The same number his wife, Sarah, wore the night she died. His hands shook as he lifted her into his car. Please don't die. Not like Sarah. Marcus woke every morning at 6:30 to the sound of his daughter moving around in the next room. The trailer was small enough that he could hear everything. The creak of her bed, the shuffle of her feet on linoleum, the cabinet door closing after she grabbed the cereal box. He made coffee in the same chipped mug he'd used for 8 years. Black, no sugar. The taste didn't matter anymore. Emma appeared in the doorway wearing her school uniform, her hair still messy from sleep. She was 10 now, growing taller every month. She had Sarah's eyes. "Morning, Dad." "Morning, kiddo." He poured milk into her bowl without asking. She ate quietly while he packed her lunch. Turkey sandwich, apple slices, juice box. The same routine every weekday for as long as he could remember. On the shelf above the sink sat a framed photograph. Sarah in her police uniform, smiling in front of the station. Her badge caught the light in the picture. 2847. Marcus never moved the photo, never turned it around. But he stopped looking at it years ago. Emma glanced up at him while chewing. "Can I ask you something?" Marcus wiped down the counter. "Sure. What was Mom like? When she was working, I mean." He kept his hands busy with the dish towel. She was good at her job, helped people. That's what mattered to her. Emma nodded slowly, like she was trying to picture someone she barely remembered. "Do you miss her?" Marcus folded the towel and set it on the counter. Every day. He drove her to school in the same pickup truck he'd been driving since before she was born. The engine rattled at stoplights. The paint had faded to a dull gray. But it ran, and that was enough. After dropping Emma off, Marcus headed to the welding shop on the east side of town. He worked the night shift, but sometimes he picked up extra hours during the day. The work was loud and hot and mindless. He preferred it that way. His supervisor, a man named Greg, nodded when Marcus clocked in. "You look tired." Marcus pulled on his gloves. "I'm fine." "You say that every time." Marcus didn't answer. He flipped down his welding mask and got to work. By the time his shift ended, the sun had already set. He drove home with the radio off, watching the broken white lines blur past on the highway. The same road Sarah used to take home from the station. That night, Emma fell asleep early. Marcus sat in the kitchen with the lights off, staring at the photograph on the shelf. He hadn't cried in years. Didn't see the point. Sarah was gone. Crying wouldn't bring her back. He heard the police scanner he kept in the back room crackle to life. He'd forgotten to turn it off after checking it that morning. Old habit. The dispatcher's voice came through flat and urgent. "All units. Officer needs assistance. District 14. Officer down. Repeat. Officer down." Marcus stood up. His chest tightened. District 14 was 10 minutes away. He grabbed his keys. Marcus told himself he was just passing through. District 14 wasn't on his usual route home, but it wasn't far out of the way either. He kept the radio off, focused on the road. The flashing lights appeared first, red and blue strobing against the trees. A patrol car sat tilted in the ditch, its front end crumpled against a concrete barrier. The driver's door hung open. No one inside. Marcus slowed down. He should have kept driving. This wasn't his problem. He wasn't a cop, wasn't a medic, just a welder going home after a long shift. But something made him pull over. He stepped out of the truck. The air smelled like burnt rubber and engine coolant. He walked toward the wreck, his boots crunching on broken glass scattered across the asphalt. That's when he saw the blood, a trail of it, dark and thick, leading from the patrol car toward the tree line on the opposite side of the road. Marcus followed it. 20 feet into the brush, he found her. The officer lay on her side, half hidden beneath a tangle of branches. Her uniform was torn. Blood seeped from a wound in her shoulder, spreading across her chest. Her breathing came shallow and uneven. Marcus dropped to his knees beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open. Young, maybe late 20s. Her face was pale, slick with sweat. She tried to speak, but the words came out broken. "Don't trust them." Marcus pulled off his jacket and pressed it against her shoulder. "I'm calling for help." "Just hold on." Her hand shot out and grabbed his wrist, stronger than he expected. "No, they'll finish it." Marcus stared at her. Who's they?" She didn't answer. Her grip loosened. Her head lolled to the side. Marcus looked down at her uniform. The badge pinned to her chest caught the moonlight. 2847. His breath stopped. That number. Sarah's number. The one she wore every day for 6 years. The one they buried with her. He looked at the officer again. Her eyes had closed. Her breathing was fading. In the distance, Marcus heard sirens. Multiple units. Coming fast. He should have waited. Flagged them down. Let them handle it. But her words replayed in his head. Don't trust them. Marcus made a decision he didn't fully understand. He lifted her into his arms. She was heavier than she looked. Dead weight. He carried her back to his truck and laid her across the back seat. Her blood soaked into the upholstery. He climbed into the driver's seat and pulled back onto the road, just as the first patrol car came screaming around the bend behind him. Marcus didn't stop, didn't look back. He drove toward the only place he could think of, a clinic on the outskirts of town. No questions, no paperwork. A doctor who owed him a favor from years ago. His hands were shaking on the wheel. "Don't die," he whispered. "Not like Sarah." The clinic sat wedged between a pawn shop and a laundromat on a street most people avoided after dark. No sign out front, just a rusted door with a peeling number painted above it. Marcus pulled into the alley behind the building and killed the engine. He checked the back seat. The officer was still breathing. Barely. He carried her inside through the rear entrance. The hallway smelled like disinfectant and old carpet. A single bulb flickered overhead. Dr. Raymond appeared from one of the exam rooms. He was in his 60s now, gray-haired and tired-looking. He took one look at the woman in Marcus's arms and shook his head. "I don't do this anymore." Marcus didn't stop walking. "You do tonight." Raymond stepped aside and let him through. They laid her on the exam table. Raymond pulled on gloves and cut away the torn fabric around her shoulder. The wound was deep. A bullet had gone clean through. "She needs a hospital." Marcus stood back against the wall. "Can't. She could die. She'll die faster at a hospital." Raymond looked at him for a long moment, then got to work. It took an hour to stop the bleeding and stitch the wound. The officer drifted in and out of consciousness the entire time. Once, she muttered something about files, about evidence. Raymond ignored it. When he finished, he stripped off his gloves and tossed them in the trash. "She's stable. For now. But she needs rest. And she needs answers." Marcus nodded. "Thanks." Raymond washed his hands at the sink. "Who is she?" "I don't know yet." "And you're helping her because—" Marcus didn't answer right away. He looked down at the officer's badge, still pinned to what was left of her uniform. "Because she's wearing someone else's number." Raymond frowned but didn't ask. He left the room without another word. Marcus pulled a chair close to the exam table and sat down. He waited. It was almost dawn when the officer opened her eyes fully for the first time. She looked around the room, disoriented. Then her gaze landed on Marcus. "Where am I?" "Somewhere safe." She tried to sit up, winced, and fell back. You shouldn't have taken me. You told me not to trust them. She stared at him, piecing it together. You're the one who found me. Marcus nodded. Who are you running from? She swallowed hard. Her voice was stronger now, but still shaky. My own department. Marcus leaned forward. Why? Because I found something I wasn't supposed to find. Evidence of a slush fund. Money disappearing from drug seizures, going into private accounts. I was about to turn it in when they came after me. They who? I don't know all their names, but I know one of them. Detective Karev. He's been running it for years. Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. Karev? She nodded. You know him. Marcus stood up. He walked to the window and stared out at the alley. The name echoed in his head. Detective Karev. The same man who'd led the investigation into Sarah's death 8 years ago. The same man who'd closed the case in less than a week, ruled it an accident, told Marcus to let it go. He turned back to the officer. What's your name? Dana. Dana Mills. And that badge number? 2847. Where'd you get it? Dana looked down at her chest. Her expression softened. It belonged to a hero. An officer named Sarah Brennan. She died in the line of duty. I requested it when I made detective, to honor her. Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. Sarah Brennan had been Sarah's maiden name. Marcus brought Dana to the trailer just before sunrise. She could walk, but barely. He kept one arm around her waist as they moved from the truck to the door. Inside, he helped her onto the couch. She sank into the cushions, her face tight with pain. Stay here, I'll get you water. When he came back from the kitchen, Emma was standing in the hallway. Her eyes went wide. Dad? Marcus set the glass down. Go back to your room, sweetheart. Emma didn't move. She stared at Dana, at the bandage visible beneath her torn shirt, at the blood still staining her uniform pants. Who is she? Someone who needs help. Emma's voice rose. Is she hurt? Should we call someone? No. But Marcus knelt in front of his daughter. He kept his voice calm. Listen to me. This woman is in trouble. Bad people are looking for her. If we call the police, she won't be safe. Do you understand? Emma looked past him at Dana, then back at her father. Are we safe? Marcus wanted to lie, wanted to tell her everything would be fine, but he couldn't. I don't know yet, but I'm going to make sure we are. Emma nodded slowly. She went back to her room without another word. Dana spoke from the couch. You shouldn't have brought me here. Marcus stood. I didn't have anywhere else to take you. I'm putting you at risk, both of you. You said Karev is involved. I need to know more. Dana shifted, wincing as she adjusted her position. He's not just involved. He's running the whole operation, skimming money from evidence lockup, paying off other officers to look the other way. I found bank records, transactions going back 5 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Marcus sat down in the chair across from her. And Sarah? Dana met his eyes. I don't know. But if she was investigating the same thing 8 years ago, and Karev was already dirty back then. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Marcus's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out. Unknown number, he answered. Hello? The voice on the other end was smooth, familiar. Marcus, it's been a long time. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Detective Karev. Dana's eyes snapped to him. Karev continued. I heard about the incident on Route 14 last night. Terrible thing. Officer Mills was in a car accident. We've been searching for her all night. You haven't seen her, have you? Marcus kept his voice steady. Why would I? You live near that area. Thought maybe you saw something. Heard something. I didn't. Karev let the silence stretch for a moment. Good. Because if you do see her, you should know she's dangerous. She's been under investigation for assaulting a fellow officer. We need to bring her in before she hurts anyone else." Marcus looked at Dana. She shook her head. "I'll keep that in mind." Karev's tone shifted, colder. "I hope so. For your sake. And for Emma's." The line went dead. Marcus set the phone down. His hand was shaking. Dana spoke quietly. "He knows you have me." Marcus stood and walked to the window. Outside, the street was empty. But it wouldn't stay that way. "We need to move fast." That night, headlights swept across the front of the trailer. Slow, deliberate. A patrol car rolled past, then stopped at the end of the block. Marcus turned off the lights and pulled Emma into the back room. Dana reached for her service weapon, then remembered it was gone. The headlights lingered for another 30 seconds. Then the car drove away. But Marcus knew they'd be back. Dana spent the next day searching through old case files on her phone. She'd backed up everything to a cloud server before the ambush. Marcus sat beside her, watching the screen as she scrolled through documents. "What are we looking for?" Dana opened a file dated 8 years ago. "Your wife's case. I want to see what they reported." The official report appeared. Single vehicle accident. Officer Sarah Brennan lost control on a wet road. Vehicle struck a tree. No witnesses. No foul play suspected. Case closed. Marcus stared at the words. "That's what they told me. Said she was driving too fast. That it was just bad luck." Dana scrolled further. "But look at this. The accident happened at 11:45 at night. She was off duty. Driving home from the station, but according to the duty log, she'd clocked out 3 hours earlier." Marcus leaned closer. "Where was she?" Dana pulled up another file. This one was marked confidential. She'd cracked the encryption 2 weeks ago. She was following a lead, a tip about money being moved out of the evidence locker. She wrote about it in her personal notes. She was meeting someone that night. Someone who said they had proof. Marcus felt something cold spreading through his chest. "Who?" Dana shook her head. She didn't write the name, just an initial. K. Marcus's throat went dry. "Karev." Dana looked at him. "You think he set her up?" Marcus stood. He walked to the shelf and took down the photograph of Sarah. He'd looked at it 1,000 times, but now he saw something different. The smile. The confidence. She'd believed she was doing the right thing, believed the system would protect her. He set the photo down. "She called me that night, around 11, said she'd be home late, that she had something important to finish. I told her to be careful." His voice cracked. "I should have gone with her." Dana's expression softened. "You couldn't have known." Marcus turned away from her. "I spent 8 years thinking it was my fault, that I should have insisted she stay home, that I should have driven her myself." He wiped his face with the back of his hand. "But it wasn't an accident. Someone killed her, and they made it look like she just lost control." Dana closed her phone. "I'm sorry." Marcus didn't respond. He walked to the back room and opened the closet. Inside, pushed to the far corner, was a cardboard box. He hadn't touched it since the funeral. He pulled it out and set it on the floor. Emma appeared in the doorway. "What's in there?" Marcus knelt beside the box. "Your mother's things. The department sent them back after she died. I couldn't look at them." Emma sat down next to him. She was quiet for a moment. "Can I help?" Marcus nodded. Together, they opened the box. Inside was Sarah's uniform, her badge, her service weapon, a notebook, a few personal items. Marcus lifted the notebook. Sarah's handwriting covered the pages. Notes about cases, observations, theories. He flipped to the last entry. Dated the day she died. "Meeting Kay tonight. Says he has the files. Finally going to prove it. This could change everything." Beneath that, she'd written something else. A single line. "If something happens to me, don't let them bury this." Marcus closed the notebook. He looked at Emma. Your mother was trying to do the right thing, and they killed her for it. Emma's eyes filled with tears. What are we going to do? Marcus stood. He picked up Sarah's badge and held it in his hand. The metal was cold. The number 2847 still legible after all these years. He looked at Dana. We're going to finish what she started. Marcus spent the next 2 days trying to find someone who would listen. He called a reporter at the local newspaper. The man hung up as soon as Marcus mentioned Karev's name. He tried a lawyer. Same result. No one wanted to touch it. Dana's condition improved, but slowly. She could move around the trailer now, but the pain in her shoulder hadn't faded. She stayed away from the windows. On the 3rd day, the news broke. Emma came running into the living room with her phone. Dad, you need to see this. Marcus took the phone. A news article filled the screen. Officer Dana Mills wanted in connection with assault on fellow officer. The article claimed Dana had attacked another detective during an argument about an ongoing investigation. A warrant had been issued for her arrest. The department urged anyone with information to come forward. Dana read over Marcus's shoulder. They're lying. Marcus handed the phone back to Emma. I know. Dana sat down heavily on the couch. No one's going to believe me now. They've made me the criminal. Marcus grabbed his jacket. Where are you going? He didn't answer. He drove to the address Dana had given him, a small apartment on the north side of town, the home of Officer Jackson Hayes, the only person Dana said she trusted in the department. Marcus knocked. No answer. He knocked again. The door opened a crack. Hayes peered out. He was younger than Marcus expected, maybe 30. His eyes were red, like he hadn't slept in days. What do you want? Marcus kept his voice low. Dana sent me. Hayes's expression changed. He glanced past Marcus, checking the hallway, then pulled him inside. The apartment was a mess. Papers scattered everywhere, empty coffee cups on every surface. Hayes closed the door and locked it. Is she alive? Marcus nodded. Barely. She needs help. We both do. Hayes ran a hand through his hair. I can't help you. Korev's watching everyone. If he finds out I'm involved, I'm dead. Marcus stepped closer. She said you were the only one she could trust. Hayes laughed bitterly. Trust? There's no such thing anymore. Korev owns half the department. The other half is too scared to move. Then help us prove it. Hayes shook his head. You don't understand. I've seen what happens to people who go against him. They disappear. Or they end up like Dana. Framed. Destroyed. Marcus stared at him. So you're just going to let him win? Hayes turned away. I'm going to survive. That's all I can do. Marcus left without another word. When he got back to the trailer, Dana was standing by the window. Her face was pale. What happened? Marcus tossed his keys on the table. He won't help. No one will. Dana looked down at her hands. Maybe I should turn myself in. At least then they'd stop looking. You and Emma would be safe. Marcus walked over to her. You turn yourself in, you're dead. You know that. Dana's voice broke. Then what do we do? Marcus didn't have an answer. He looked at the photograph of Sarah still sitting on the shelf, her smile, her badge, her belief that the system could be fixed. She'd been wrong. But maybe Marcus didn't need the system. His phone buzzed. A text message. Unknown number. We have your daughter. Bring the cop. Come alone. Old Pier. Midnight. Marcus's blood went cold. Emma's room was empty. Marcus tore through the trailer. He checked every room, every closet, every corner. Emma was gone. Dana stood in the doorway, her face stricken. Marcus! He grabbed his phone and called Emma's number. It rang twice, then someone answered. But it wasn't Emma. Karev's voice came through smooth and cold. She's a sweet kid. Looks just like Sarah. Marcus's hand tightened around the phone. If you hurt her, Karev cut him off. I'm not going to hurt her. Not if you do exactly what I say. Bring Officer Mills to the old pier on the South Docks. Midnight. Come alone. If I see anyone else, the girl dies. The line went dead. Marcus threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and shattered. Dana limped toward him. We have to call someone. The FBI, state police, anyone. Marcus turned on her. There's no time. And who's going to believe us? You're a wanted fugitive. I'm nobody. Karev has the entire department on his side. Dana's voice shook. Then what do you want to do? Marcus walked to the back room. He opened the closet again and pulled out the box. Sarah's uniform. Her weapon. He stared at them for a long moment. Dana appeared behind him. You can't go in there alone. It's a trap. Marcus picked up the uniform. I know. He laid it on the bed. The fabric was faded now, but still intact. He ran his fingers over the badge. 2847. Dana watched him. What are you doing? Marcus didn't answer. He pulled off his shirt and put on Sarah's uniform. It fit tighter than it should, but it fit. He pinned the badge to his chest, checked the weapon. Fully loaded. Dana stepped in front of him. This is insane. You're walking into a death trap. Marcus looked at her. I already lost Sarah because I didn't act. I'm not losing Emma. Dana grabbed his arm. Then let me come with you. Marcus shook his head. You can barely walk, and if Karev sees you before I get Emma out, he'll kill her. Dana's eyes filled with frustration. So what's your plan? Trade yourself for her. You think he's just going to let both of you walk away? Marcus picked up his phone from the floor. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. He opened his email and attached every file Dana had sent him. The bank records, the case notes, Sarah's journal entries, everything. He typed in 3 email addresses: the FBI field office, a federal prosecutor Dana had mentioned, a journalist in the state capitol who'd covered police corruption before. He set the email to send automatically at 1 in the morning, 2 hours after the meeting. If I don't cancel this, it goes out. Dana stared at him. And if you're dead? Marcus met her eyes. Then you make sure it doesn't get buried. He walked past her and headed for the door. Dana called after him. Marcus. He stopped. She limped across the room and stood in front of him. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she reached up and straightened the badge on his chest. Sarah would be proud of you. Marcus's throat tightened. He nodded once, then turned and walked out. The night air was cold. The truck engine roared to life. Marcus pulled out of the driveway and headed south toward the docks. He looked at the badge in the rearview mirror. 2847. I'm not letting you down this time, he whispered. The road stretched out ahead of him, dark and empty. The old pier jutted out into the black water like a broken finger. Marcus parked at the entrance and killed the engine. The place had been abandoned for years. Rusted shipping containers lined the dock. Broken street lamps cast uneven shadows. He checked his watch. 11:58. He stepped out of the truck. The uniform felt strange on his body, too tight across the shoulders, but the weight of the badge on his chest felt right. Like Sarah was there with him. He walked toward the end of the pier. His boots echoed on the wooden planks. Ahead, he saw them. 4 patrol cars parked in a semicircle, headlights on, engines running, 6 officers standing in formation, and in the center, Detective Karev. Emma sat on the ground near Karev's feet. Her hands were bound, her face streaked with tears. When she saw Marcus, she tried to stand, but Karev put a hand on her shoulder and pushed her back down. Marcus stopped 20 feet away. Karev smiled. Marcus Brennan, I almost didn't recognize you in that uniform. Marcus kept his voice steady. Let her go. Karev tilted his head. Where's Officer Mills? Safe. Somewhere you'll never find her. Karev's smile faded. That's unfortunate. Because the deal was simple. You bring her. I give you the girl. Marcus took a step forward. The deal's changed. You let Emma go. I'll tell you where Dana is. Karev laughed. You think you're in a position to negotiate? Marcus pulled Sarah's weapon from his holster and aimed it at Karev. The officers around him drew their weapons in response. Red laser sights appeared on Marcus's chest. Karev held up a hand. Easy. Everyone stay calm. He looked at Marcus. You're not a killer, Marcus. You're a welder, a single father. You're not going to shoot me. Marcus didn't lower the weapon. You killed Sarah. Karev's expression didn't change. Sarah killed herself. She couldn't leave well enough alone. She had to dig, had to play hero, just like Mills. Marcus's finger tightened on the trigger. She trusted you. Karev shrugged. She was naive, thought the system mattered. Thought justice was real. I did her a favor, ended it quickly. Emma screamed. Dad, don't! Marcus's hand shook. Every part of him wanted to pull the trigger, wanted to end Karev right there. But he looked at Emma, at her tear-stained face, at the fear in her eyes. He lowered the weapon. Karev smiled again. Smart choice. Marcus holstered the gun. I sent everything. Every file Dana had. Every transaction. Every case note. It's all going to the FBI in 1 hour, unless I stop it. Karev's smile disappeared. You're lying. Marcus pulled out his phone, showed him the scheduled email, 58 minutes remaining. You let Emma go right now, and I'll cancel it. You'll have time to run, time to disappear. But if you hurt her, if you hurt me, that email sends, and your entire operation collapses. Karev stared at the phone. His jaw clenched. You think the FBI will believe a dead cop's husband and a fugitive? Marcus stepped closer. They'll investigate, and once they start digging, they'll find everything. You know they will. Karev's hand moved toward his weapon. Marcus spoke quickly. You kill me. The phone locks. You'll never cancel the email in time. Karev's hand stopped. For a long moment, no one moved. The only sound was the water lapping against the pier and the distant hum of the patrol car engines. Then headlights appeared at the entrance to the pier. Multiple vehicles. Black SUVs. Federal plates. Karev spun around. What did you do? Marcus looked past him at the SUVs. Agents poured out. FBI. At least a dozen. Marcus smiled for the first time in 8 years. I didn't trust you to keep your word. So I moved up the timeline. Dana stepped out of one of the SUVs. She was wearing a federal jacket, her arm in a sling. Behind her, Agent Torres from the FBI field office. Karev reached for his weapon. Dana shouted, Gun! Marcus dove toward Emma. He tackled her to the ground and covered her body with his. Gunfire erupted. 3 shots. Then silence. Marcus looked up. Karev lay on the ground, his weapon a few feet away. Federal agents swarmed the pier. The corrupt officers dropped their weapons and raised their hands. It was over. Marcus sat in the back of an ambulance with Emma. A paramedic checked her for injuries, while Marcus held her hand. She hadn't let go since the shooting stopped. Agent Torres approached. He was tall, with gray hair and a face that had seen too many crime scenes. Mr. Brennan, we need to ask you some questions. Marcus nodded. Is my daughter safe? Torres glanced at Emma. She's safe. We'll need a statement from both of you, but that can wait until morning. Dana walked over. Her face was pale, but her eyes were clear. I told them everything. About Sarah, about the slush fund, about Karev. Torres pulled out a notebook. Officer Mills provided us with substantial evidence. Bank records, case files, witness testimony. We've been building a case against Karev for 6 months. Your wife's investigation was the key we needed. Marcus looked up. You knew about Sarah? Torres nodded. We found her personal notes 2 years ago during a separate investigation. But we couldn't prove anything. Not until Officer Mills came forward with the financial records. Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. All those years thinking Sarah died for nothing, thinking her investigation had been buried and forgotten. Torres continued. Karev won't face trial, but the others will. We've arrested 7 officers so far. More to come. Emma spoke quietly. What happens now? Torres crouched down to her level. You go home. You're safe. Your dad's a hero. Emma looked at Marcus. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired, hollowed out. But he also felt something else. Something he hadn't felt in 8 years. Relief. 3 weeks later, the police department held a ceremony. Marcus didn't want to go. But Donna insisted. The station was packed. Officers in dress uniforms, city officials, reporters. Marcus stood at the back with Emma, feeling out of place. The chief of police took the podium. He was an older man, someone Marcus had never met. Today we honor the memory of Officer Sarah Brennan, a dedicated servant who gave her life in pursuit of justice. For too long, her sacrifice was misunderstood, misrepresented. Today, we set the record straight. He held up a medal, the department's highest honor. Officer Brennan will be posthumously awarded the Medal of Valor for her courage in exposing corruption within our ranks. Marcus felt Emma squeeze his hand. The chief continued. We also recognize the bravery of Officer Dana Mills, who continued Sarah's work at great personal risk, and Marcus Brennan, who protected her when no one else would. Marcus was called to the stage. He walked up slowly, feeling every eye in the room on him. The chief handed him a framed certificate and Sarah's medal. On behalf of the department, I apologize. We failed your wife. We failed you. But we won't fail her memory. Marcus took the medal. It was heavier than he expected. He looked down at it. The engraving read, Officer Sarah Brennan, Badge 2847, Courage, Honor, Justice. He looked out at the crowd. Dana stood in the front row, wearing her dress uniform. Her badge gleamed under the lights. 2847. She smiled at him. Marcus returned to his seat. Emma leaned against him. Mom would be happy, right? Marcus looked down at the medal. Yeah, she would. After the ceremony, Dana approached. The department offered me a position, internal affairs. They want me to help rebuild trust. Marcus nodded. You going to take it? Dana looked at her badge. I think so. Someone has to make sure this doesn't happen again. She held out her hand. Thank you. For everything. Marcus shook it. You did the hard part. Dana smiled. We both did. The sun was rising when Marcus and Emma arrived at the cemetery. They'd come early, before the crowds, before the heat of the day set in. Sarah's headstone was simple, gray granite. Her name, her dates, her badge number. Marcus knelt and placed the Medal of Valor against the stone. Emma set down a bundle of wildflowers she'd picked that morning. They sat in the grass together. The light filtered through the trees, casting long shadows across the rows of graves. Emma spoke first. Do you think she knows about what happened? Marcus looked at his daughter. She was growing up so fast, too fast. I think she does. Emma picked at the grass. I wish I remembered her more. I was only 2 when she died. Marcus put his arm around her. She loved you more than anything. That's what matters. They sat in silence for a while. A breeze moved through the cemetery, rustling the leaves. Emma stood up. I'm going to walk around for a bit. Is that okay? Marcus nodded. She wandered toward the other side of the cemetery, reading names on headstones. Marcus stayed by Sarah's grave. He ran his fingers over the engraving of her name. I'm sorry it took so long, he whispered. I should have known, should have pushed harder. But I was scared, scared of losing more than I already had. He placed his hand on the headstone. Dana's going to make sure your work wasn't for nothing. She's going to fix the department. Make it what you always believed it could be. A car pulled up near the cemetery entrance. Dana stepped out. She walked over and stood beside Marcus. I hope I'm not intruding. Marcus shook his head. You're not. Dana looked down at the grave. I never met her, but I feel like I knew her, through her notes, her cases, the way people talked about her. She touched her badge. I'll do right by this number. I promise. Marcus stood. I know you will. Dana handed him an envelope. The department wanted me to give you this. It's a formal apology and a settlement for what they put you through. Marcus took the envelope but didn't open it. I don't want their money. Dana smiled gently. Then use it for Emma, for her future. That's what Sarah would have wanted. Marcus nodded slowly. Dana turned to leave, then stopped. There's something else. The mayor's office asked if you'd be willing to speak at the police academy. Share Sarah's story with the new recruits. Show them what real courage looks like. Marcus looked back at the headstone. I'll think about it. Dana walked back to her car. Marcus watched her go. Then he called out, Dana. She turned. Thank you. For wearing her number, for carrying on her fight. Dana smiled. It's an honor. Emma came back and took Marcus's hand. Together, they walked toward the truck. Marcus glanced back one more time at Sarah's grave. The morning light had reached it now, illuminating the metal resting against the stone. He got into the truck, started the engine. Emma looked over at him. Where are we going? Marcus pulled out of the cemetery. Home. For the first time in 8 years, the word felt true. Sometimes kindness doesn't change the world, but it changes one person. And one person can change everything.